In December of 2025, a report leaked out of the Russian aviation industry. It claimed that the country's brand new jet engine, the one meant to save its entire regional fleet, could not produce enough thrust to lift a fully loaded aircraft off the ground. Flights with a full cabin, the source said, were simply off the table. 6 months later, on June 5, 2026, Russia's aviation regulator handed that same engine a type certificate. So which story is true? Was the thrust problem real and quietly fixed? Or was it never real at all? And here is the strangest part of this whole saga. The factory that built this engine spent 15 years building the French engine it was designed to replace. Same walls, same workers, different flag on the paperwork. Today, we are going to unpack the PD-8, the engine Boeing and Airbus never had to worry about until sanctions turned it into the most strategically important turbofan in Russia. Let's get into it. To understand why this engine matters so much, you need to understand the aircraft it hangs under. The Sukhoi Superjet 100 was supposed to be Russia's great post-Soviet comeback story. First flight in 2008, first commercial service in 2011. A modern regional jet seating roughly 90 to 100 passengers. But here's the detail everyone overlooked at the time. The Superjet was arguably the most westernized aircraft Russia had ever built. Avionics from France, systems from across Europe and the United States, and most critically, the engines. Those engines, the SaM146, came from a joint venture called Superjet, France's Safran on one side, Russia's Saturn plant in Rybinsk on the other. The French side built the hot section, the core, the most technologically demanding part. The Russians built the fan and the low-pressure section. It was globalization in miniature, hanging under each wing. And for a while, it almost worked. The Superjet flew for airlines in Mexico and Ireland. It was the first Russian airliner in decades to carry passengers in the West. But the cracks showed early. Mexico's Interjet famously ended up grounding aircraft and stripping them for spares because engine support couldn't keep up. The SaM146 developed a reputation for hot section problems and slow repairs long before politics entered the picture. The Western sales dream quietly died. What remained was a domestic workhorse with a foreign heart. Then came February 2022 and the invasion of Ukraine. Western sanctions cut the Superjet's lifeline overnight. Safran stopped supporting the engines, and the shortages got absurdly specific. Igniter plugs made in the United States, fuel filters made in France. No domestic replacement existed for parts that cost less than a business-class ticket. Yet without them, a $40 million aircraft becomes a museum exhibit. If you watched our earlier video on China's CJ-100A engine, this should sound familiar. It's the same lesson Beijing learned from watching Russia. An aircraft is only as sovereign as its engine. Russia's answer was the PD-8, developed by United Engine Corporation. And the timeline here is genuinely unusual. Development only began in earnest in 2019. The Soviet-era PS-90 engine took roughly 12 years to develop. The PD-14 for the MC-21 airliner took about 10. The PD-8 went from launch to type certificate in roughly 6, under sanctions, without Western suppliers, and with the added pressure of an entire national fleet slowly running out of spare parts. The first flights came in December 2022, with the engine bolted to an Ilyushin 76 flying laboratory. By March 2025, a Superjet was flying with 2 PD-8s under its wings. In September 2025, the first serially produced, import-substituted SJ-100 took off from Komsomolsk-on-Amur. Then came the certification gauntlet, and credit where it's due. The published test campaign reads like a torture manual: bird ingestion, water ingestion, crosswind trials, a 150-hour endurance run simulating airline service. Natural icing flights over the Arkhangelsk region in March 2026, where the engine kept running with an ice crust of 8 to 10 millimeters forming on the airframe. In December 2025, engineers strapped a pyrotechnic charge to the root of a fan blade, ran the engine up to takeoff power, and blew the blade off. The fragments stayed inside the casing, which is exactly what certification demands. The final act came in April 2026 at the open-air rig in Rybinsk, simulated hail ingestion. By the end, the PD-8 had accumulated nearly 6,600 operating hours, including 1,449 hours in the air. On June 5, 2026, timed, not coincidentally, to the St. Petersburg Economic Forum, the type certificate was issued. Russia's regulator now expects the SJ-100 itself to be certified in the second half of 2026, with roughly a dozen aircraft targeted for delivery to airlines. Now let's open the cowling, because the engineering choices here tell a story of their own. The PD-8 is a two-spool turbofan in the 8-ton thrust class, about 78 kilonewtons, with a bypass ratio of 4.4. The fan has 24 wide-chord titanium blades. Behind it sits a 3-stage low-pressure compressor and a 7-stage high-pressure compressor, one stage more than the SaM146 had, pushing the overall pressure ratio to 28:1. The engine borrows technology from its bigger brother, the PD-14, including advanced turbine materials, and the manufacturer says it features a supersonic high-pressure turbine stage aimed at improving efficiency. Even the thrust reverser changed, a cascade-type design instead of the old bucket type, which the maker claims is faster and quieter. And crucially, the engine control system, the digital brain, is now fully Russian. Why does that list matter? Because of what the old joint venture deliberately kept out of Russian hands. In the power jet arrangement, Safran built the gas generator, the compressor, combustor, and high-pressure turbine. That's the part of a jet engine where the physics gets brutal, temperatures beyond the melting point of the metal, blades surviving only through exotic alloys, ceramic coatings, and microscopic cooling channels. It is the single hardest thing in commercial aerospace, which is exactly why so few countries can do it. With the PD-8, Russia is claiming it has closed that gap alone, including, according to the manufacturer, 17 new technological developments, among them turbine blades and nozzle assemblies cast from more heat-resistant materials. But, and this is the mandatory skepticism section of this channel, let's be honest about what we know and what we're being told. Almost every performance claim you just heard comes from Rostec and United Engine Corporation, the state entities whose entire reputation is riding on this program. There is no independent Western certification, no EASA validation, no third-party fuel burn data. The bypass ratio of 4.4 is unremarkable by modern standards. The geared turbofans on Western regional jets run bypass ratios 2 to 3 times higher. Nobody serious is claiming the PD-8 beats the SaM146 on economics. The claim is sovereignty, not superiority. And then there's the thrust story. In December 2025, the outlet Business Online, citing an industry source, reported the engine wasn't reaching the thrust needed for a full passenger load. Certification, originally promised for autumn 2025, slipped to the first quarter of 2026, then to April, and was finally granted in June. Officially, the manufacturer insists the engine confirmed its full rating of just over 8,000 kilograms of thrust on the bench, and Russian industry media called the shortfall claims unverified. By March 2026, reports said the issue, whatever it was, had been resolved. Maybe it was a real deficiency, fixed quietly. Maybe it was an exaggerated leak. We genuinely do not know, and anyone who tells you they do is guessing. What we can observe is the schedule. It slipped, repeatedly, in exactly the window that report describes. Here's the counterintuitive part, though. The PD-8's most important job might not be powering new aircraft at all. Russia still operates a fleet of over 100 original Superjets with French-Russian engines that are slowly being cannibalized for parts. Moscow has confirmed plans to re-engine those existing aircraft with PD-8s. Think about what that means. The engine isn't just a production component, it's a life support system for an entire national fleet. And in a detail you could not script better, the serial production line for the PD-8 sits in Rybinsk, at the very same Saturn facility that spent 15 years as Safran's junior partner building the engine the PD-8 now replaces. The student didn't just learn from the teacher, the student took over the classroom. So what does this actually change? For Russia, the stakes are existential rather than commercial. Aeroflot ordered 89 of these import-substituted jets back in 2022. The state plans to ramp engine production toward 30 units per year. And the PD-8 has a second customer, the Superjet 200 amphibious firefighting aircraft, which until now depended on Ukrainian-built engines, a supply chain that, for obvious reasons, no longer exists. The industrial geography tells you how seriously Moscow takes this. Engines are built at Saturn in Rybinsk, northeast of Moscow, then shipped 9,000 kilometers across the country to Komsomolsk-on-Amur in the Far East, where the airframes are assembled. Both plants have been upgraded specifically for this ramp. That is not a company making a product. That is a state rebuilding an industry. But there are hard questions ahead. Who pays for re-engineering the existing fleet? The state, the manufacturer, or the airlines? That's officially undecided. Can production actually ramp? The PD-14 program offers a sobering precedent. Announced plans of 12 engines per year were cut to 7, and actual deliveries lagged far behind. And the operating environment is unforgiving. In a single week of March 2026, Russian carriers reported 5 in-flight engine failures across their aging fleet, according to the Moscow Times. That is the clock this program is racing against. For Boeing and Airbus, the PD-8 changes nothing on the order books, and that's precisely the point. This engine will never be certified in the West, and the SJ-100 will never compete for a Delta or Lufthansa order. What it does is make permanent what sanctions made temporary. The Russian market, once worth billions in deliveries and support contracts, is now structurally closed. Fortress Aviation built one component at a time. And for China, watching from Shanghai, where the CJ-1000A is grinding through its own certification campaign, the PD-8 is proof of concept. It says a sanctioned country can certify a modern turbofan alone. It also quietly shows the cost: 6 years of crash development, unverifiable performance, and a product that trades efficiency for independence. So, did Russia just change everything? Here's my honest read. As a piece of engineering under wartime constraints, the PD-8 is a real achievement. You don't fake a blade-off containment test or 1,500 flight hours. As a commercial product, it's a non-entity. It exists for one captive market. The engine's true significance is strategic. It's the single component that decides whether Russia's civil aviation survives the decade with its own wings. The certificate is signed. Now comes the hard part: building them, in numbers, reliably. And on that question, the jury is still very much out. If you found this useful, the story continues in our series on China's aviation gamble. The C919, the C929, and the CJ-1000A engine. Because Beijing is running the same playbook with 10 times the budget. The links are on your screen and in the description. Subscribe so you don't miss what happens when the first SJ-100 enters passenger service. Because that story is coming later this year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.